Please listen carefully.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nick.
My name is Lainey.
And welcome to this week's installation of the Hypothetical Siblings podcast.
Ka-chow.
Lightning McQueen. I said last week that...
Sorry.
The disrespect. I'm a host this week. You disrespect me.
I'm a host this week. I'm a host every week, bitch.
You disrespect me. You come to my podcast.
You come... No, I'm not going to
do my podcast.
No.
That kind of just sounds like old man. That's not even really like gangster.
What? I was trying to think. I was doing an old man... I was going to say accent. Is that right?
I mean, yeah, like voice.
Because Mom and Dad and I were watching something today, and I just imitated the old man, and I looked over, and they were both looking at me, and I was like, oh.
I don't know. I said last week that I was going to be exhausted. That this last week was the tired cast, and this was the exhausticast or something like that.
No, last week was Sleepy Cast.
Sleepy Cast, that's right. Now, last week was Sleepy Cast, and this week is Exhausticast, and that is absolutely true. I went to bed at almost 3 this morning.
Yeah.
Because I did the Halloween partying, and the Halloween partying was good, and I'm glad that I went. But I find, in my dotage, now that I'm creeping up on 25, I find that I gain age, I get older faster.
Oh, what?
I don't know, because you go from 21 to 22 or 22 to 23, and I'm those are all kind of the same thing, more or less, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, for most people.
So true.
But the difference from 24 to 25, I can just feel it in my body, decaying. That's
what my coworker says. All of them are once you turn 25, it's just downhill from there.
Thanks for the words of encouragement. You just
start to disintegrate, actually.
But just being achy and stuff like that, and, heavy nights of partying or drinking or whatever just affecting you more and things like that, which, don't get me wrong, I'm far from done, certainly. I have lots of friends who are...
Nick's a party guy.
That's explicitly not true.
That's literally so true.
Why? Tell me why that's true. That's not true
you just you just go crazy.
Yeah, I do. I think I get caught up in the excitement of the whole thing.
Which is great, though.
The emotion. I just become this hurricane that's running around and being chaotic because I'm just excited that it's happening.
Yeah. I respect that, though, because I'm not really that person.
Yeah, which is weird because, you are a relatively outgoing person. Mm-hmm. You like talking to people.
I do. And it also depends on who I'm with. Based on how I'm acting.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, we all are going to act a little bit different depending on which friend groups we're with or things like that.
I've noticed, though, that I think that I'm a lot of the time that person who's sitting there and God, I love you guys.
I do. Why are you that person?
I don't know. I just get really appreciative how you do, but instead I'm you guys are just... You're the best.
It's okay. I hadn't seen one of my friends in a minute, and I didn't expect him to be at this party because I thought that he was going to be out of town. And I he's bigger than I am, and I'm already a pretty tall guy. I mean, I'm 6'1" if I'm standing up straight. I don't weigh terribly much, but I'm not light either.
Right. You used to be a lot thinner.
Yeah, no, I filled out for sure. Like I said, in my old age. But this friend of mine is taller and better built than I am. He's just got more weight to him. Mm-hmm. And I ran and threw myself at him. I was off the ground pretty comfortably.
You said, pick me up and twirl me around.
Correct. Just because I was excited to see him. But yeah, there's all sorts of people. It was a good time. I got there really late because I had to close, which sucked. But then I stayed until 2 a.m, so I guess it was fine.
Better than my weekend.
Your weekend was very bad.
Yeah,
that's true. You want to do your weekend?
Yeah, I didn't get to participate in the Halloween.
No Halloween for Lainey because she's a dirty bitch.
No. Don't say that about me. I'm not. I'm messy.
Yeah, you are messy. You're a messy bitch.
Because I have had COVID.
Yeah.
I tested negative today, but Thursday to Saturday was not doing so hot.
It was a bad time.
And I'm feeling better, although I'm still having some symptoms, which is gross, and I'm testing negative, which is good. But it was pretty ass. I didn't get to party, and I just felt bad.
Yeah, I because my life is so busy and has been for the last while, like, it is less about the actual partying, and it's the more that I get to see all of my friends together at the same time.
Yeah.
Because I don't care about being drunk. Or, like, don't me wrong, I will drink, and it is fun to drink, I guess. But it's more about the social aspect for me.
I like getting drunk.
Well, my thing's like, if I want to, and this is maybe going to make me sound like, it's absolutely going to make me sound like an alcoholic. But, like, if I want to get drunk, I'll just get drunk.
Right.
You know?
So true.
Like, as long as I have, like, I mean, I'm not going to sit there by myself and kill, like, an 8, pack of beer or whatever. But if I'm, like, hanging out with 1 or 2 people and just want to have a night, like, I'll just go have a night.
Right. No, I wholeheartedly agree with that. Why do you got to wait for a big party? Maybe we are alcoholics. I'm actually not. I think I talked about this last week. I don't know. I don't get drunk like how I used to. Oh, yeah, I did because of Vegas. And I get drunk a lot easier now.
Oh, yeah.
And
no, I hit that shit hard because I got there late and I said, we're going to play catch up and then just ride that shit out.
Yeah, which you did successfully, though.
Surprisingly.
Yeah.
I did shotgun a beer for the first time in, I might guess, like 8 months. And that was horrible.
Yeah.
That hurt. Like, it physically hurt my chest.
Yeah, I have shotgunned a beer. It was disgusting.
Yes, I was there.
But I have more often shotgunned Trulies and things like that.
What a zoomer.
Which is painful, but so much better than beer.
Yeah, well, you don't get that, like, yeasty beer kind of thing going on. It's just water.
It's just carbonation, and that burns you. But sometimes kind of like it.
One of the first times I met one of my best friend's parents was at her graduation, and it was 7 a.m. because graduation. But she said, and had said for years, that she wanted to shotgun a beer with me in the parking lot before we went into her graduation, whether it was just hers or both of ours or whatever, the paths were.
Yeah.
And we did that. Now, the problem with that is that it was, first of all, 7 a.m., second of all, neither of us had eaten anything, and third, I had been awake for maybe 20 minutes. Like, I literally, like, woke up, put clothes on, and got in the car, and we went.
Absolutely.
And that was it. And then we get there, and it's like, okay, time to head inside. And, like, we didn't really even wait for her parents to get out of the car next to us, and we were just kind of standing there and, like, popped the trunk and grabbed the beers and got after it. And it was a Coors Light. Right, and so just super nothing, just foam, right?
Gross.
And so I pounded it, and immediately can feel like the pressure build up, and just I'm like trying to burp it off, and it's not happening, and I turn around and just vomit foam into the parking lot, and then I turn right back around. I don't know, I might have spit once, and then turn around and go, hey, Mr. blah, 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 Nick Nelson, nice to meet you. And, like, just tried to play it off like that didn't just happen.
Garbage.
Yeah, man. I felt like big trash that day for a variety of reasons. But, yeah, no, we did. We did the I don't even know why I started talking about that. I mean, we were just talking about alcohol.
and just shotgunning.
Yeah. But, yeah, so that hurt. But then it was a good time. Happy with the Halloween. I dressed as Han Solo. I don't know if I said that last time.
I don't remember.
I don't think so.
But Nick and his friends, guys, there were a variety of Star Wars costumes, and they looked fucking cool.
Well, which were not like, we did not all be like, we should all do Star Wars stuff. Everyone just kind of came by it naturally. I mean, I did. Like, after everyone else was like, we're doing Star Wars, I'm like, well, fuck, I'm going to hop on that bandwagon because, like, give me a reason.
Right, yeah.
But,
and that's how you know you're friends with the right people, because Star Wars nerds.
True. And then I already have like my next 2 or 3 years of Halloween costumes planned out. So,
Goals.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm kind of shit at Halloween costumes, but maybe it's just because I don't put in the effort.
I think there's a classy kind of trash that you invoke with your Halloween costumes.
Really? Thank you.
The black-eyed pea was definitely
that was up
a
there.
statement piece.
Yeah. I was also like, 10?
Yeah. And you thought that was the funniest.
Peak
4th grade. Lady's
comedy.
like, you know what's fucking hilarious?
Yeah. If I put on a green sweater,
A pun.
put some fluff in it, paint some black circles around my eyes, boom. Black-eyed pea right there.
So you are the type of child that I'm fascinated that I think that I might have, just based off of our family and our genetics and stuff
I
like that.
I agree. Just little gremlin weirdos.
Yeah. And so, like, at work the other day, it's like a Saturday, and it's afternoon, and it's kind of slow-ish for the weekend. And there's this dad and his daughter walking by. And this is this is at least a month and a half ago, if not more, right? So not near Halloween.
Yeah.
And they go walking by, and the daughter's probably 8 and is wearing a hot dog costume. And
that's so
I'm over there, and I'm helping them, and just talking. Like, I'm looking at her, and I'm just trying to ignore the fact that this child is dressed like a hot dog.
Right.
And, we get done with whatever the dad actually needs. And I'm like, hey, do you, what's up with that? And he looks at her, and he looks back at me and goes, it's Saturday. And I'm like,
of course.
Is this in every, doesn't answer any of my questions, but I don't want it to.
Hot dog Saturday.
Hot dog Saturdays.
Oh, that's so amazing. If I ever have kids, that's how I want them to be. Just fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
Not enough to where they get bullied. I want them to have some friends, but...
Well, I think that we strike a particularly good balance of, like, being able to go and be people.
Oh, yeah.
But being unabashed in being weirdos.
I agree. 100%. Like, we get friends... I mean, I was nice with the popular kids. I wasn't like friends with them, but friendly.
Yeah, they didn't hate me, and I did not really hate them for the most part.
Yeah, there's always going to be some people.
Yeah, there's always going to be someone where I'm like, fuck you, Kyle. Kyle's not a real person. Well, Kyle is many real people, but like, I am not thinking of a particular Kyle that I hate.
Wow. Nick just shat on all the Kyles.
Fuck all Kyles. I mean, I don't know. If I have to choose one, like, don't be wrong, there's a solid, like, 50 to 70% of the Kyles that I have met that I like.
Yeah.
Isn't
there a Kyle in South Park?
There is. He's one of
good?
the main characters. I mean, sure.
Because I don't really like Cartman, but I also
you're
haven't
not
watched
supposed to.
South Park.
Yeah, Cartman's, like, horrible. He's supposed to be everything horrible about a child. He's a racist, and he, like, hates the Jews. And
Which isn't one of them Jewish?
Yeah. Stan is Jewish.
That's so fucked.
And so he's always bagging on him for being Jewish. Yeah, that's a horrible show.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good, but obviously horrible. I think it's important, though.
Yeah?
Well, just to have something
To our
that, like...
culture?
Well, yeah, like that pushes the boundary that is blatantly irreverent just for the sake of being irreverent. Like, we're going to do and talk about shit that no one else is because whatever.
Also, don't they make fun of, like, both sides, sort of?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's very George Carlin for the most part, who's a very famous author and comedian. But his whole thing is he would go off on like a rant. And you're like, oh, you're like a violent conservative. And then he'd turn right around and be like, and the conservatives fuck each other. And you're like, what's happening?
Yeah. Who are you?
Yeah.
What do you believe?
I think he just kind of hated everyone. And I respect that about him because I look around sometimes and I'm like, no, yeah.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else happened with my week? I don't know. There's nothing really at work that happened. Oh, I did a necropsy on a deer for lab.
Yeah, and you didn't throw up. Good job.
I didn't. I kind of wanted to at some points of it because that shit's gross. And especially the deer that we got. Of course, you've already heard the story, so this is like not fun reactive internet humor bits that will get us many views, right? But the cause of death was this deer was, sitting in someone's front yard, like eating on their grass, and they're like, oh, cool, a deer. And then a fucking cougar just pops out of the woods and like snaps its neck.
Bro,
and I'm
Animal
like,
Kingdom.
he's right in the front yard.
That's so much...
Sitting here drinking my morning coffee and just witnessing cold-blooded murder.
That's so much sicker than any of the natural kingdoms that went down at our house.
That's true. There was that one with the big snake and the rat, but we kind of found that once it was already mostly over.
Right, yeah, so we didn't get to witness it.
And so then they scared the cougar off because they're like, you're not going to disembowel this deer in my front yard.
Yeah.
And so the Department of Wildlife came out and got the deer. And like the veterinarian that was doing the necropsy and my professor and all the people who knew were sitting there like, we know why this deer died. And then we start to cut it open. And before we get to the fact that the neck is broken, like we're looking at the lungs just covered in like buboes and pustules.
Oh my God.
Did I not tell you about this?
You didn't tell me about it, like any of this.
Okay. Well, I thought we already had this conversation, but so it's all covered in like horrible like illness, and we're like, what the fuck is going on here? Like it was so, and I guess sorry if you're all squeamish, but whatever, welcome to this podcast. But like so bad to the point that the wall of the ribs was like fused to the lung because there was so much extra flesh that had been developed to try and contain it.
Right.
On both sides, the lungs were like stuck to the wall of the ribs to some degree.
That's horrible.
And so basically, I mean, as we're going through it, we determined some type of systematic pneumonia that had just gone way, way, way
Isn't
bad.
Isn't that a huge problem in like bighorn sheep populations right now?
Yes, it absolutely is. And they are significantly worse at fighting it for some reason than other animals are. But this one, regardless of the fact that she had so many boo-boos, yes, so many boo-boos that she died.
Boo-boos.
So many boobos and pustules, yes, that they were like inside of her spleen and liver.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so like all over.
Oof.
But the rest of her body was still healthy. So again, it was spreading, but she was doing a good job of fighting it and like containing it to where it spread, which is a weird thing.
That is weird.
But she had almost no fat on her. And so this time of year,
that's bad.
It's super bad because you're supposed to have all the good fat to help you get through winter and stuff like that. And so they kind of surmise that that's why she was in the more like suburban kind of area because it's easy food and you're super safe. Yeah. And so he's like, her plan was probably to bed down in like some farmer's field for the whole winter and just don't move and try to stay warm and just eat the good like grass. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, but that shit was super gross, and then I was all cowboyed up that day, like just how I was dressed, so I had like my boots and a flannel and a trucker hat on, and I'm like sitting there, and I kind of feel like the pressure in my forehead, like I might pass out, and I'm like, because it's one thing if I threw up, like I would be totally fine to like go outside, yak, and then come back in and be good.
You're braver than me.
But if I passed out, like, I am dropping that class. Like, I am never coming back.
I will never show my face again.
I will find a different university. None of you will know my name, But yeah, so there were definitely, parts of it where I'm going outside and, like, breathing, doing Lamaze, like trying to get the good air going back in. Because it's also inside and there's no ventilation in that lab. So it's just a concrete box with a steel table and a half-rotting deer on it. Yeah. So yeah, that was a time.
That happens to me at work sometimes.
Half-rotting animal? Or the passing out? The throwing up?
Contained in a space with a bad smell.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, except you have the dead smells are probably worse than the alive smells for the most part, depending on how long dead.
And we don't smell dead smells often.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah. You're kind of doing a bad job if you do. If you often smell dead smells as a vet. Like often. Because like when I'm talking dead smells, like rotting corpse.
Right, which you're not... Even if you have a dead animal as a veterinarian, it's probably recently dead, so it doesn't have a dead smell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you're smelling a lot of often dead smells as a vet, you probably need to change some shit. So if an animal dies, that you're like getting it out and not letting it rot in the corner.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I was confused.
Yeah, clearly.
Obviously. Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty much my week. Besides getting the vid, what's up with you?
I couldn't do shit.
Yeah.
I was sitting around watching TV with mom and sometimes dad.
Yeah.
And, Harry Potter marathon was sick for this weekend, you know?
Yeah, true.
Great.
I feel like, I don't know if we just haven't been watching TV over here, but I feel like I've seen a lot less Harry Potter this October than I usually do.
Yeah, I think it's because we've been watching more, streaming stuff.
Yeah, that's probably true, as opposed to just having the cable on.
Yep, totally,
Yeah.
totally.
No,
So-
absolutely.
So that contributes to it a lot. What else did I do? I mean, I literally just couldn't do shit.
How was it? Because I still, at this point, I mean, at least not in any confirmed capacity, like, I don't really get sick very often, and I certainly haven't had COVID, right?
I also don't get sick often, I
Yeah.
don't think. I mean, more often than you.
Yeah.
But the first time I had COVID was way milder than this. It was just like a cold, and I got a headache one day and felt really bad, but like was just a cold beside that.
Yeah.
This time though started off like the flu, and I thought I straight up just had the flu, and then Mom was like, take a test, and I was like, oh, I guess.
Oh, right, that.
And then it was positive, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like I said, filthy bitch.
Yeah. So it sucked a lot.
Yeah.
But I got better really fast, which was cool.
Thanks to that immunization.
Hashtag vaccine. And that's how you say it.
Vaccine.
Vaccine.
No.
Yes.
Why are you putting like an M at the end of it?
I'm not.
Vaccine.
This is why people think my name's Wendy at work.
What?
Whenever I answer the phone, my most often that I get is Rainy with an R. But I've gotten Lauren. I got Wendy. Nobody knows what my name is.
So I get a lot of the time because our phones at work aren't very good, and I also have problems with my N's and my M's.
Yeah.
But people, I've been Nick and Rick and Mick and Dick and every variation thereof ick names.
Yeah.
But the one that gets me is Mick, because at least like the other ones are names, right? Like Dick is a very
Mick is a name.
Hold on, I'm going somewhere with this. Hold on.
I'm going
I'm
somewhere.
going somewhere with this. Because at least like again, Dick is an old-fashioned name, but like that's a name that people still have sometimes, you know, as a shortening for Richard.
Yep, true.
Which also, why not just go Rick? But whatever.
Yeah.
But my thing is like, when was the last motherfucker that you knew that was named Mick? Short, presumably for Mickey.
Right.
Because I'm not an Irish immigrant in the 1920s, and also no one is, sir. Why do you think my name is Mick?
No one is. They probably had some friends.
Yeah, because they're older than time. And probably
exactly.
were the Irish immigrant.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then...
Have you watched Shameless?
No.
Okay, never mind.
All right.
There's a character named Mickey in that.
All right.
But he's like older than you by a little bit, but that's all. So I think that's just weird.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe in different places in the U.S.
Yeah, maybe it's like an East Coast thing or something. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, and then like you'll just get like, you know, like you're saying, you get just way off the wall shit where you're like, that's not even a little bit close.
Right. Well, because my name doesn't really sound like other names like that. You
Right.
know, like all those things, Rick, Dick, whatever,
Yeah.
are names. But who thinks my name's Rainy? Like,
I don't know. There's lots of like Rainn Wilson.
but Rain, I don't know. Like Rain, but whatever.
There's so many fucking Hayden, Caden.
That's not Rainy,
No,
though.
but like there's so much weird bullshit names going around
Hayden
nowadays.
isn't weird.
Oh, well, you know what I mean. I can't fucking think of them off the top of my head. It's like Sean spelled with an X, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah.
You're just making this up, right? Or
I don't know, probably. I feel like that's maybe a thing that I've seen.
Because I feel like that's not real.
X-E-A-N. Sean.
X-E-A-N.
See, I feel like that's the way to play it with like the new crazy ass names and shit like that, is that it's a regular name, but you just destroy it to the point that it's unrecognizable.
See, I'm all for like being original. Well,
Original. I am all for being original.
because I think it's fun when people have cool names.
Yeah.
But why not? But these people are just the same name, but made it hard to spell. That's not cool.
That's true.
You know?
My
Like,
name's Sean with an X. You're like, what the fuck is happening?
yeah, my name's Michaela with a GH.
Yes.
And it's like, no. But if you come back and your name is like, I don't know, what's something fucking old and cool?
I don't know. Is Levi an old name? I like the name Levi.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of Levi's now, though. It's become popular, and I hate it.
I sort of like Betty.
No. I like Penny.
No. I like Penelope.
Yeah. Penelope, and then Penny for short. Because you have to have a long name and then the short name.
You have to.
Yeah, it's the rules.
It's the rules.
It's the rules.
Them's the rules.
The goblins in my brain tell me so.
My given name and my nickname are both 6 letters.
Yes.
So that's not a nickname.
All right.
Or, it is, but it's not short. I thought the whole point's to be short.
I don't know. I didn't make your name. I'm not in charge of the rules.
You 3-year-old bastard, you had something to do with it.
I'm sitting there like drawn in crayons. Whatever else 3-year-olds do.
And I'm sitting there with a scowl on my face.
Yeah, you were just a pissed baby. Like, you were a wake up and go full goblin mode for like the first 6 years of your life.
You gotta go goblin mode, bro. How else are you gonna experience joy in life?
Besides going goblin mode? Yeah. Will you never know peace?
Yes. I won't.
So, yes, I will not know peace.
No peace.
What else happened in your week?
I told you nothing. I was supposed to take a test and I couldn't.
Have you contacted that professor?
Yeah.
Were they cool about it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But also, university literally has to make COVID accommodations. So.
That's true, yeah. If you get the fancy, the COVID test, then that means if you were just like, I was sick, then they're like, fucking die, I guess.
Yeah. But since it was COVID, they're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Because otherwise they get in trouble.
Yeah.
As they should.
Yeah, that's true.
Make accommodations for people.
True. I remember I think it's actually on this podcast, I talk about a professor that I had a while ago who came to school for the first week and saw how negligent everyone was being about not wearing masks and shit. He's like, fuck all this, we're going only online.
Yep.
Which, good for that professor, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, if you... I don't know.
Try to protect your students to the best of your ability against their own...
wishes. Or not...
their own knowledge, their own care.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when you swaddle a baby so they can't scratch their eyes out or whatever they do.
Put oven mitts on them.
Yeah, correct.
But little ones.
Just a whole oven mitt on the bottom of a baby and one on the top, but you cut a hole for its face.
For its face, yeah.
It's a small baby or a big oven mitt.
Got those XL oven mitts, bro. Big and tall store, but for oven mitts.
Correct. I looked at aprons this week just because I've been doing a lot of cooking recently.
Yeah.
And I want a fun apron to wear because I feel like that would be a fun thing. Aprons are trash. Like funny aprons are so dog shit garbage. Like it's so live, laugh, love. I'm upset about it.
Yeah. Open a business.
My buddy has one that's Samuel L. Jackson from oh my god, what's the Tarantino movie? Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
He has Samuel L. Jackson from Pulp Fiction, and it says like "Say whisk again, motherfucker" or something like that. Oh, it's like rise and I don't know. It's but it's a funny thing. Yeah. And the rest of them are like, it's like I like my what is it? I don't know. It's just all dumb horse shit. Like it's
the wine, Linda.
Yeah, it's like totally non-memorable. Like it's literally like Kiss the Cook.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who fucking cares?
Yeah, that's why I bet there's a niche market, or maybe a big market for funny aprons.
Yeah.
Because
like it's one of them is like I like my pork pulled and my butt rubbed or something like that.
Yeah, that's
and I'm like,
hilarious.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's so lame.
This is similar. I have a friend who makes their own bumper stickers.
I don't even know how I would go about starting to try and do that.
They showed... we were in the circumstance to where I saw their car. And...
Is the whole back of it just like plastered with bullshit?
No, not the whole back, but there's a good amount.
Yeah.
Most of which are about... what's the guy from Matrix?
Neo?
No.
Morbius.
I was going to say Morbius, but I thought that was wrong. What's his name?
Morpheus.
Morpheus.
I think it's Morpheus.
Okay.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
Hold on.
I've
Where
never
the fuck
seen
is
it.
my phone? Fact checking will ruin the podcast, but we have to not sound like total idiots.
Because I've never seen The Matrix.
You should.
But neither has
You
my
would
this
hate
friend.
it, but it's a good movie.
You would hate it. Great recommendation.
I'm just telling you, you are not the person that The Matrix was made for.
Right. That's why I don't want to watch it. Because I think I'd get all weird and fucked
Yeah,
up
Morpheus.
about it. Morpheus. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, a few of their bumper stickers are about Morpheus. It's like, Google Morpheus from Matrix. I'd rather be Morpheus.
Why?
I don't know, because they haven't even watched The Matrix, and it's so funny to me. And then another iconic one is all milk is breast milk. And it has a picture of photoshopped tits, but that are like almonds.
Why? What?
Because almond milk. But all
almond
milk is breast milk.
No. Absolutely. I don't like this reality.
And then the next one, my favorite, is honk if you have scurvy. It's so funny.
I can't express how hard I would lay on my horn if I saw that. Just me jaundiced and bleeding from the gums as my mucous membranes collapse from scurvy.
Honking that horn.
Yeah, correct.
So that's the kind of thing I think aprons need. Is just that cursed.
Yeah, just weird left field energy.
Yeah,
that's fair.
absolutely.
Well, I feel like that's enough unhinged ranting for 1 week.
True.
Yeah.
True. Probably
even though
true.
we definitely have more to give, even though we
Always.
did nothing.
We always can unhinge rant.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of I went on the physics rant again about how I hate physics
yeah.
with my coworkers who are new and have not heard me rant about physics yet.
Yeah.
So that was a fun thing. But yeah, everyone, physics is bullshit. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but maybe later, because I'm sure it'll come up again.
Yeah. Because we can't talk about this every week.
That's true. That's true. But anyway, our topic for this week, because this is kind of our final Halloween spooky season
Halloweeny
typey podcast bit. We're going to talk about nightmares.
Nightmares. And not girl horses that come out at night.
Yes? Yeah, not that. Unless that's a nightmare that you have.
Which
Which
is
would
not.
be really weird and specific.
That
and
would be
you
weird
probably
and
should
specific.
seek help from
Yeah.
a physician and or therapist.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Okay. But we're going to talk about nightmares, and more specifically than just nightmares, talking about what the situation would look like if you had a nightmare that came to life. Now, there are a lot of, not just recurring nightmares, but kind of, God, I don't know why I'm just like burping so bad. Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There's a lot of nightmares that are kind of shared by the general population.
Like your teeth falling out.
The teeth falling out. There's the I need to run away and can't.
No pants at school.
No pants. I have a horrible one where it's kind of like the no pants at school thing, but I'm in a public place and I have to use the bathroom and I'm peeing, but in like a toilet as opposed to a urinal, and it just starts to fill up and I can't stop peeing. And then it's like right at the rim and I still have to go and I'm like trying to gauge if there's enough room and the toilet won't work and it's just all anxiety all the time.
Wow. And then you piss on your shoes.
Yeah, and then it's like there's like I don't know, there's motion to the room for some reason, so there's just a little bit of
Can't
like
aim.
yeah, well I can't aim, and then the like toilet is so full that there's a little bit of like leakage. Oh, I was gonna say it's a nightmare, but yeah, yes, that thing, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, so like I don't know, there's mundane stuff like the no pants at school, like that's a bad day, but like you're alive.
Well, you'll live.
Yeah. Not being able to run away from something that is chasing you.
Horrible.
What is chasing you? Because in my experience with that particular dream, it's always like this unnamed, unknowable
Entity?
darkness behind me.
I don't often have that one. It's more often that I'm running towards something that I can't. Like the bus for school is leaving and I can't run fast enough. But I haven't had a lot of I can't even think of it. I'm sure I've had one. I just can't remember where I'm running away from something.
No, I've definitely had the running away. I've never had the running towards. The variation of that I have had a whole lot of is I am fighting that same mysterious black fog thing, but I can't swing my punches hard enough to actually do. So I'm still making contact, but I'm basically just dragging my knuckles across the front of this thing.
I've had that too. Even if I have a weapon, like I've had a knife versus
and you're just like rubbing a knife
and
on
I'm
this
like,
thing.
I just can't. Yeah, like, ugh.
Interesting.
That's so terrible.
What do you suppose that, I mean, we don't need to go into the psychology of it, right? But like, because the running away or running towards is like you can't escape something or you can't get to where you want to be. Like, that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Or even the teeth falling out largely is supposed to be like an age thing. What the fuck? I'm not strong enough to fight what I want to fight or something?
Yeah, or you perceive yourself to be not strong enough.
Yeah,
you know?
I think the pee one is I just have to pee real bad and my brain is like, dude, wake up.
Well, I have, and it's as I've gotten older, I have a lot of horrible anxiety dreams about having to pee in a dirty bathroom. But not just dirty, like abandoned, disgusting, like rats. Filth.
Yeah,
like, you know,
high level filth.
Yeah, and they're terrible. It's so unsettling. It's like past, oh no, I'm gonna pee. Yeah, I don't know. It's so disturbing to me.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like abandoned warehouse bathroom.
I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, oh, I don't care at all. But it's because as a dude, I don't have to like sit on something.
Right.
So whatever.
But also, like, if you were looking down at a toilet and it was just filled with nastiness, and also like, just the seat was fucked up and like chipped and there's like mold and shit.
I mean, I'm gonna be moderately unsettled, but I'm, you know, for the better part of 4 foot removed from the situation. Because
I think it just calls to something so much worse than like just a bad bathroom. Like, I feel like it's a bad place to be.
Yeah, that's fair. Know? Yeah, there's some bathrooms that I've been in where I'm like, oh, someone was murdered here.
Literally.
Like, for sure there was a violent crime that happened in this bathroom.
Also, there's like a few horror movies that does that. Like, Scream has some bathroom fights or like runaway and then Halloween has
one of the Halloweens where he like he gets all the teeth and like drops them over the edge of the thing.
Teeth are gross.
It's the only bone that you have that you should be able to see.
Yes.
Yeah.
So true. Great point.
So yeah, again, not being able to fight something you need to fight, like that could result in your death. Mm-hmm. That's a bad time.
Have you ever died in your dream?
Yes, but it's always like I get right up to the point of death or where I should die, and then I either stop that dream or I wake up or something. So it's like, I've fallen off of something, and I'm like at the moment that I impact the ground, and then it stops, you know?
I straight up watched myself die.
Oh.
But I'm not myself.
Right. What does that mean? So
there was this one dream where I was running away from the police, but I was a man. I was like a 5'5" Mark Zuckerberg looking ass man. And I had done something, I think like robbery, to where it was like high speed chase on the freeway.
Yeah, sick.
And I flipped a bitch on the freeway and started going the other way. And I
on the opposite lane, like, did you change sides of the freeway or did you just do a 180 and start driving against traffic?
There was a weird gap in the median, and so I was on the other side.
Okay.
But my solution to getting away was jumping off the side of the freeway head first, because I didn't want to get caught.
Did you stop the car?
Yes, sorry, yeah. So like I flip a bitch and I like drive some, and they haven't caught up to me. So I stop the car, I get out, and I walk to the edge, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill myself because I'm not going to prison. And so I jump off head fucking first, and it switches to like third person, and I just watch this man like head crack on the pavement, dead.
What the fuck?
I know.
What kind of horrible shit?
I don't know. What does it mean?
I don't know. Probably nothing good.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of fake when people are like, I don't watch myself die. Nope, straight up. I mean, it wasn't me, but it was also me.
You were like inhabiting the body type of thing.
Yeah.
So were you said it was third person though?
At the end, but it was first person for the car chase and stuff.
Weird. What if you're like a psychic or like some type of oracle or portent, and you were just like hanging out in this dude's psyche?
Mm-hmm. What if Harry Potter happened real life?
That'd be cool.
Because
we could have just talked about that. Haven't we done that? We did West Coast, but not like
West Coast Hagrid.
West Coast Hagrid. Don't listen to those.
No,
the audio
that's
is
not
garbage.
And you know what? We didn't do a great job anyway.
Yeah, true. I don't know. There's some of that stuff
Some
that I'd
of
like
it's
to revisit.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I've never died in my dream, but I've had situations where like I am very aware that I'm going to die. I've had a lot of bad dreams about either just dinosaurs in general or alternatively Jurassic Park.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like a lot. Like I had a recurring nightmare for a long time about getting chased by velociraptors.
Ooh, that's bad.
And you want to talk about that shit coming to life? That's the real. Like I'll take a T-Rex long before I take the fucking velociraptor.
Oh, absolutely, fucking.
Because the T-Rex has to like get to you, and we are much smaller than the T-Rex, and so relatively easy to escape from to
also,
a reasonable
if
degree.
their eyesight literally is based on movement, then that seems like a pretty chill thing.
I'm so good at holding still.
Yeah, you wouldn't even believe how good I am at holding still.
Maybe not when the T-Rex is next to me and like screaming in my face.
True, because you'll just go deaf.
Yeah.
You know?
That doesn't prevent me from staying still, but I will be deaf
But
now.
it's hard to stay still when you're actively going deaf.
Well, and that's the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. Like the T-Rex that may have actually existed. Well, that did actually exist, but
Nick's an evolution denier.
we're learning lots of things today. No, evolution is real. Dinosaurs are real. It's not a plant by the Democrats. No, but there was that, kind of theory that was put forth for a while. It's like maybe T-Rexes honked like geese. Because we don't know how many feathers they had, only that they did have feathers because they would have degraded so quickly that they're probably not fossilized.
Yeah.
And so it could have been this big puffball giant chicken with sharp teeth that honked.
Which is so funny.
I feel like that's so much scarier.
No, I was on campus the other day just walking, and there was a group of geese, and I gave them a berth, a wide berth.
Cobra chicken deserves to be respected.
Yeah, but this lady I was walking by did not, and a goose straight up hissed at her, and she was like, "Oh my!" And I was like, "Girl, do you not know
I'll fight a goose.
how
I'll kick that motherfucker's ass."
So, no, you're right. A giant goose would be really scary.
Yeah.
Because geese are just sort of scary.
Yeah, I also have like a generalized fear of just being eaten in general.
Yeah. Well, and Dad was asking me that the other day of like, we watched a cut scene from the King Kong with Jack Black.
Yeah.
And they're like on a river. I've never seen this movie, but the supposed cut scene was that they were like on a riverboat and then a giant fish eel looking thing attacked them.
I've seen that several times.
And Dad was like, would you rather like drown or get eaten by that thing? And I was like, drown, because it's not that I'm worried about, I mean, obviously I would be worried about it hurting and eating me, but I don't want to get swallowed.
Yeah, getting swallowed is the real horror.
That's terrifying, because then you essentially drown anyway, but I feel like it's a lot more scary.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, same with T-Rex.
God, people get so fucked up in that movie.
Yeah,
like dudes get so horribly murdered. Like the whole bug scene in the pit. Have you seen that movie?
No, I just said I hadn't seen that movie.
I didn't. Yeah. So there's a whole scene, and we're just apparently ranting for this whole podcast now, but whatever. It's my show. Fuck you. There's a scene where they fall down like a big ravine, right? So they're up in like the grassy, jungly, there's dinosaurs and stuff like that. And then because it's a film crew is what it is. Right.
Well, they have the camera in that cutscene and they're like, don't let it get wet.
Right. Because they're like, it's all for nothing if the camera gets wet. Yeah. Right. But then, so they fall down this big ravine, like can't climb up the walls, deep ravine. And it's all dark and shadowy, and like giant bugs start to come out of the walls and eat dudes.
Ugh.
And not even like spiders, because that's too easy. I think there might be like one spider, but it's like a trapdoor, and so it like pops out and grabs a dude and just disappears.
The way that makes me want to vomit.
Yeah, and then but there's like giant crickets, that are like 3.5 foot long, but there's like 8 of them.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they all just jump on a dude.
I think bugs are inherently evil. They're just too small. They're just too small to inflict any real damage.
I'm really going to out myself here. There was a praying mantis at my house the other day.
Evil. They're evil.
And I was taking out the trash, and I must have stepped over him when I was taking the trash out, because I came back and he was just standing in the middle of the path, like on the front of my house. And I was wearing like slippers, like walking around the house slippers, because they got the hard bottoms or whatever. I'm not gonna. I walked around him. I walked direct. I said, nope, that's his path now.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say you just fucking stomped him.
No, like I'm not gonna murder the homie, but I know that if I step close, that he will assault me.
Yeah, because they have no fear.
They don't.
If there was a giant praying mantis, they would be.
That's
evil.
a bad one.
Have you had any bug dreams?
What does that mean?
Bug
Like
nightmares?
a giant evil praying mantis?
Well, okay. I have arachnophobia, faux show.
Yeah, I've seen you leap from a moving vehicle.
So I have spider dreams often.
Okay.
Never a giant spider, which I'm grateful for.
Yeah.
Always, I have to walk through a path of a million tiny dangling spiders, and
Yeah.
that's the story.
Yikes.
And it's always terrible, and I wake up crying, and it's horrible.
Yeah. That is horrible.
Yeah. And or sometimes there's like one spider that's chasing me and I have to get away. Sort of like Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we stray away from the bug ravine in that King Kong movie, the guy who gets it maybe the worst is there's like giant leeches.
Oh.
That are like in the rocks. Like it's like barnacles almost, where they kind of have the head that comes out. And they got these big like gripper mouths, right? With like where it's kind of like it's almost like a sphincter,
garbage
but it's not like
receptacle.
it's got teeth on the outside of it. Yeah. But they're real slow. But there's just a lot of them, and so like he's got a machete and he's chopping at them, and then one like grabs his foot and gets around his leg, and he's screaming because it's biting into his leg, and then he's trying to chop at it, but while that's happening, one hits his arm, and then and he gets basically like drawn and quartered, and one like gets down over his face, and just they all eat his limbs.
That is terrible.
Yeah, it's like I've watched that scene now, because I first saw that I was probably like 12, like definitely not old enough to be watching
because
that.
when we went to Hawaii,
Yeah.
and I was 8, so you were definitely
like 11, or whatever. And I've watched that now because I'm scrolling through YouTube or whatever, and it's like movie scenes, right? And it's like just the 5 minutes of that. And I watch it, and I'm like, oh, I'm still not okay with this. Like, this still is fucking me up.
Literally. It's like when mom is scared of Poltergeist, but you watch Poltergeist and you're like, that's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But she was just traumatized by it.
You will
so
live with the memory of how
Right.
that affected you for the rest of forever.
So even if you know it's like bad, you're still like, oh, that's very uncomfortable.
I have had a variety of dreams about either like foreign invasions of like random and not even like it's the Russians, because like I don't have a fear of like any particular foreign country, but just of like enemy force come to like take our family and kidnap them effectively, or like some type of like kind of like the Purge, like the original Purge, where it's like just a home invasion. Like I've had those dreams with relative frequency.
That's terrible.
Well, it's kind of, I mean, yes, because it's very like harrowing, because I'm scared for myself and my family and shit like that. But for me, if I have a dream, and especially a nightmare, enough times, I gain some level of control over it, because I think I start to recognize that it's a dream.
So this is what I was going to make you talk about, because you're like you have some weird mind control, like your own, not over other people, but like
willpower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them about the werewolf dream.
Well, so lucid dreaming, right?
Right.
Is a thing that I tried to induce for a while in myself. And so what lucid dreaming is, for you folks that don't know, is it's where you basically wake up, but you're still in your dream. And so you become aware that it is fake and that it is a dream, and gain, in some cases only a small modicum of control, and in some cases complete control over all that is happening, right? And so I've had lucid dreams before where it's like, oh, I'm in my high school gym, but all the doors are locked and I can't see out any of the windows, but the lights are all on. And so I'm just kind of hanging out in there. And I recognize that it's a dream because there's supposed to be cues like clocks aren't real
Clocks
in dreams,
in your
and
fingers.
you can't see your palms
Yeah.
and stuff like, which I don't think is real. I don't know. I've never, but I recognize that I'm in the dream in this gym, and I'm like, oh, let's like turn gravity off. And so, but there's weird rules. Like it's only half lucid, so like I can turn gravity off, but it's only when I hold my breath.
Right.
So I'm like, I crouch and then hold my breath and kick off, and I'm just like sailing around this room, and then have to get back down to the ground and like, and breathe again, right? So yeah, the first time that maybe the first time ever that I had any variety of lucid dream or like power over my dream. The third Harry Potter movie, there's a werewolf, and that is a freaky fucking werewolf.
It is. It
Just
is like
it's weird.
It is
and
the freakiest
scrungly.
sort of werewolf I think that you could probably have.
Yeah,
Because the big fluffier ones.
as we denoted, the biker werewolf,
Yes, the biker werewolf, grease werewolf.
Grease werewolf. No, so I had a dream where it was nighttime and I was walking through the forest and I kind of got out into this like glen. And the moonlight was shining down, and then the bushes would shake, and that werewolf would come out, and he'd bound across, and then like jump on me, and that was the moment that the dream ended because I effectively was dying.
Right.
I think is what was happening. And I used to have that dream like a couple of times a week for a while there, and I was young, right? Like younger, but I mean, nowadays I'd have that and I'd be like, that was weird, and move on with my life. But it was like fucking me up.
Right.
And so eventually it got to a point where it's happening and I'm freaked out, but there's this freaked out and there's like this anger, like I'm upset that I can't stop it, right? And so I scream, stop. And then in front of my eyes, like it's a screen or something, comes like the pause of like the two bars and then the word pause in front of my eyes. And I'm like, what the fuck? And my vision, like the camera almost backs up, and I'm looking at a TV screen, and then it pans to the left, and I'm looking at myself sitting on the floor in front of a TV and like a VCR, and I'm looking at myself watching a TV.
Tell me that isn't the coolest shit you've ever heard. Nick is like, and when he told me that initially, I was like, what the fuck, bro? That's sick as hell. You said, I'm fed up with this, no more.
Yeah. So there was that one, and after that, I've never had that dream again. I have had dreams where that werewolf is involved, but never recurring ones where it's like the main threat.
Yeah.
And so the velociraptor thing, something similar happened, right? But I only have the one resolution dream, and then it's done for the rest of forever. So in the velociraptor one, it's always me like running down a hallway, and I'm never quite fast enough to like get to the door and close it and lock it behind me.
Yeah.
But it's like a series of rooms. It's like a greenhouse or something like that, and I'm running down the center of it. And so I'd run and I'd like close the door, but they're just right there, and I don't have time to lock it, so they'd bust through and keep chasing me or whatever. And I finally got one where I'm like, fuck this, and like put on the speed, right? And was like, flashing it. And I get to the door and I turn around and I lock it, and they can't get through or whatever. But then I'm outside, and it's like, you ever been to like one of the big parks in San Francisco?
Big, what kind of?
Like
like a park.
Like a park. like a public park.
I don't think so.
So lots of big hills
In
and
a
stuff
Central
like
Park.
that. All right, I have not been there. So, but lots of like big hills and stuff, and it's got that kind of like pseudo subtropical mid to South California where they're like, this is a eucalyptus tree, and I feel like that's not a thing that should be here.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it's got like the trees with the bark that's really peely, so it's kind of that.
Okay.
But like super wide, like Africa safari wide. Like this is just what out
At night?
No.
Oh, okay.
Daytime.
At least
like
it's daytime.
It feels like it's night when I'm inside, and then I get out and it's like daytime, and there's just a Jeep there that's already on, and so I get in the Jeep, and then there's like stampeding dinosaurs all over, but like not going after me. Like I'm just there, and I'm like whipping around in this Jeep, like just trying to dodge, but like I'm having a good time.
Yeah, you're like, woohoo, woohoo.
Totally.
Cowboy.
So that was the end of that one.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That seems less. Well, I guess you made the choice to like speed up, but the video or TV one to me is just. I will forever remember that. I feel like
Well, it's just a weird. And there's something like. I don't know. There's something not unsettling, but just like it feels very unnatural to watch yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so and it was like not clothes that I had.
Ew, yeah.
Like where it just kind of wasn't right.
Yeah, yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm looking at myself from an outside perspective.
Right.
Yeah, it's not right.
Yeah, it's not right. I don't have that, and I don't really have reoccurring dreams. I have one that I remember really vividly that also relates to Harry Potter, so maybe that fucked us up a little, but...
Yeah, probably.
But it was with Voldemort, and I've never considered Voldemort to be really scary.
Is this the one that I think it is?
I think so,
oh,
yeah.
Hell yeah, I love this dream.
So, I am in this just gray room, like gray walls, gray floor. It's not really a room. It's like when Squidward goes to that weird place and is like, hello.
Yeah.
You know how, it's not a room.
It's the void.
But it's like, yeah. And there's like a garden lattice in the middle of it.
Like one of the ones that you would change behind in the olden times, like the accordion ones.
No, like one that you put on the side of your house. And it's like, yeah, totally.
Okay.
And there are some grapes growing on it.
Okay.
Because that's what they do. I don't know. And Voldemort is chasing me around this like a cartoon, like
just in circles.
Yeah, around and around and around. And at one point, I get far enough ahead of him to where like I'm on the exact opposite side, you know? So I decide to lie down and play dead. Well, he sees that and gets on top of me and puts his ear, or I guess not his ear.
He has ears.
Does he have ears?
I think so.
Okay.
He just doesn't have a nose.
In the book, I don't think he has ears.
Okay.
Well, regardless.
I mean,
and
snakes
listens.
ears still.
Yeah.
They don't have outside ears. They have inside ears,
Right.
but whatever.
Inside ears. But he puts his ear to my chest and listens to my heartbeat. And this is so dumb, but in Ned's Declassified, the TV show, their old ass like principal or something pretends to die on Halloween as like a prank. And he has like a steel plate on his chest so you can't hear his heartbeat. And I like had one of those for some reason. And so he believes that I'm dead. So he gets off me and backs up a little bit, but then has to make sure that I'm dead. And you're probably thinking, Voldemort, wand, he's going to Avada Kedavra me. No. He pulls out a handgun.
Voldemort pulls out the 45.
But turns it sideways. Not even just points it at me. Turns it fucking sideways and pops me twice in the chest.
Tom Riddle run the streets, yeah.
Literally. And I wasn't even that scared. Like, I was just like,
What the
fuck was that?
Yeah, it turns a corner where you're like, all right, I'm taking a break from being scared to ask a question, and that question is, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. Why did Voldemort just shoot me like that? Was he gonna curb stomp me next? Like,
God, I hope
you
so.
know, Jesus Christ.
Because he doesn't even have shoes. That's just bare Voldemort foot stomping on your face.
He does caress Cedric's dead face with his scaly foot.
Yeah.
And that shit is nasty, bro.
Those concrete grippers.
Put those grippers away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's weird dreams like that where they're not scary really, but you're scared in the moment, and then you wake up and you're like, what was that?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, definitely those dreams. Or like, I've had stuff where it's like, people in my life that are just not acting like themselves, and it's this weird, and not in like a weird alien way where they're like creaking and not moving right, but they just are not who they normally are. And there's this weird kind of anxiety that comes with that, of just being uncomfortable because you feel like the known is now unknown, like you can't rely on the things that you normally would. And I think, that relates back to our conversation last week of thriller versus horror versus whatever. In that just it's a different type of fear.
Yep, absolutely.
Where it's like a close friend of mine and they just don't like me anymore. You know?
Yeah. That's so... that's like my everyday anxiety come to life, man.
Yeah,
you
correct.
know? Which I guess makes sense why it's a nightmare then. And like a common one.
Have you ever had the teeth falling out one?
No, thankfully. But I have had one, this is really gross.
Okay.
Where any place that I touch my face, zits just appear.
Ugh.
But they go away really fast, too.
That's kind of like a party trick then at that point. That's
and
kinda
I
cool.
literally was like, this is so gross. But like making patterns and stuff because like it was.
Because you're a freak.
I would like do it and then like 2 seconds later it would be gone. So it's like a curse, but I was kind of being like, whoa, this is weird. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be horrible. That's like being an X-Man.
Yeah,
Because there's like,
but a shitty X-Man.
Oh yeah, well, it's one of those things like in, I don't know if it's the later X-Men comics or whatever, but like not everyone gets a titanium skeleton or is now invincible or
Magneto.
like when you touch someone they just die, you know. There was one X-Men who's called the Maggot.
Ew.
And he like, you know, just got hungrier and hungrier and hungrier, and like no matter how much he ate he was still hungry. But I think it was Magneto helped him figure out that his stomach had been replaced, like it had turned into basically 2 maggots that were like giant maggots.
What?
And they were invincible. You couldn't kill them. But the way that he had to eat was that they would burrow out of him and then go eat something and then have to burrow back in. And that was his power.
That's disgusting.
But so the ability was like, hey, there's a bomb and we don't know how to disarm it. Just eat the bomb. And he'd be like, okay.
Because they're invincible.
Yeah, and so they just eat the bomb and then not blow up because maggot.
Useful. What? Way to find the silver lining. And like...
But I'm like, that's the worst.
That is the worst.
Like, at least I think it's
hey, buddy, we gotta have
I think
you
it's
eat
Jean
this.
Grey can't touch people or they die.
Yeah.
And like, that's bad. That's a really lonely life.
Yeah.
But like, the maggot...
That's just gross.
Also, your name is the Maggot. Like, fuck, man.
Yeah, that's pretty freaking raw.
That guy gets metal powers and has to wear a helmet for I don't really know why, but I have maggot stomach.
That girl's blue and can turn into anyone she wants and is super strong.
She's strong.
I have maggots for
I
stomach.
thought she just turned into other people. She's strong, too.
She's
Mystique
strong.
is strong.
I'm pretty sure she's strong.
All right.
Because the whole part of her character arc is like, don't try and be pretty, just use your power.
Yeah, just be you.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Wow. Any other notable dreams of yours?
No, I have lots of friends who have had crazy dreams, sometimes involving me. Oh, I had a fucking wild-ass dream recently that I forgot about.
Oh, what?
Okay, so I was going to college. Crazy, I know. But the college was in like a big mega city in like kind of a cyberpunk or like what's the Judge Dredd or something, where it's like a city that covers most of like the size of a state type thing.
Yeah.
And so the skyscrapers were like super huge, but the college was just like 4 square blocks of mega skyscrapers.
Oh.
But there were like clubs, like dance clubs, like nightclubs in the skyscrapers with the college. And so all the college kids were like, they'd go to school and then like party, but they'd all live only in these skyscrapers because they didn't ever have to go anywhere. Right? And then the very top of one of the skyscrapers was like a gym, but it was like a full-up gymnasium that was like done to the nines and everything you could ever want, but like it was this weird, like abstract shapes of like rock climbing walls and stuff like that. Like the geometry really didn't make sense.
Ooh.
But people were still climbing on it and like free climbing, like
no harness.
Yeah, but like no one was concerned about it.
Yeah, they're like,
And,
this is normal.
Like there were these big windows that it was like this gymnasium was like 5 stories and there was just one piece of glass as the window, so it was really unnerving because you could like see out over and into the city. And then like one of the skyscrapers was also like the place that I work at, right? But it was like a super version of it. Like everything had been tuned up and there were just people like, it was kind of like one of those Amazon stores that they were trying to do where you don't pay for anything. It just marks who you are and takes the money if you leave with something.
Oh.
And again, everyone just like was comfortable being there, but I was very aware that it wasn't right. And so that was horrible and unnerving. And I think that would be, because again, if you have a dream that comes to life that is, there is a threat that is now real. That, I mean, that's a thing that happens to people, you know? Like if you have a dream that's natural disasters or something, that's just a thing that people deal with.
Right, that's just something people go through.
But imagine that you go to work, right? Say you work at like a Walmart or something, right? And you show up to work, and instead of the regular Walmart that you work in, it's like a 10-story skyscraper, but like a block of them, and it's all the Walmart. And no one is concerned that anything's different, but you know that it's
Something's different, yeah.
And so everyone's like collectively gaslighting you into thinking that that's normal.
Mm-hmm. And then you just have to deal with it in that universe.
Well, do you? Right?
Like,
or do you try to leave and then everything else is weird now too?
Ugh, that is just like the worst circumstance I can imagine. Like that everyone thinks you're just fucking crazy. Like
I don't know. My stupid ass, like we've talked before about how we're both relatively gullible.
Yeah, true, same.
And I kind of feel like if everyone was in on it and was like, dude, chill out. Like it's good. Like this is, you know how this works. I might just buy into it and be like, okay, you know?
I am gullible with small things. But if my whole ass life changed and everyone was telling me that, I'd be like, okay, then take me to a mental hospital because I've had a psychotic break.
He's like, I remember a past several years that evidently were not real. I need to talk to a specialist.
Literally. And like my first instinct is to not trust my own mind, which is probably bad, but like, you
I don't
know.
know.
So I would just be like, take me in, bro. I'm done.
Yeah, so I think something like that, where you just experience something that's really weird and abstract, but you're aware of it, or really just the weird abstract, right, would probably be potentially the worst thing to come true, right?
Yep.
Because again, Voldemort with a Glock is like, yeah, that's a threat. I mean, he's technically a high-level lich, but, you know, apparently he just has a gun.
Right.
So whatever.
And that was Voldemort's problem is, you know, he didn't utilize those tools.
That's fair. That's understandable.
He just relied on magic too much. But if he branched out, which I guess
Death
was his
Eaters,
whole
but they have
thing.
firearms.
But I guess that was his whole point was like,
Muggles
all
are
magic,
dumb
bro.
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they should have just come after him with guns is what I'm saying.
Oh, what's that? Avada Kedavra? Eat this buckshot, idiot.
What are you going to do to this bullet, dumbo?
Dodge this. All right, well, I think that's enough unhinged ranting for 1 week.
Yeah, it was a lot of unhinged ranting.
Yeah, that really, I mean, don't be wrong, this podcast is relatively freeform. Like, there's not a lot of rules for how it's supposed to run, but that wasn't really a topic.
No, it really
like,
wasn't.
That was just us being dumb into a microphone, which kind of is what happens anyway, but there was no structure. So
listen, we're both exhausted. I've had COVID. Nick's been out till 3 a.m.
And then and then I worked this weekend. Like that,
Right.
I didn't just go to a party and then stay up late and I'm tired. Like I did that, slept for 5 hours, and then worked for 9.
Yeah, so we're a little bit loosey-goosey right now.
A little bit.
You know.
A little bit.
But I hope you enjoyed our crazy ranting anyway.
Yeah, I hope so. Oh, I want to make a comment because I was looking at the analytics again. The Germans are gone. The Germans have disappeared. I don't know where you went. Godspeed, Germans.
Godspeed.
They have been replaced with Belarusians
Yes.
from Belarus.
Belgian.
Belgian? Is it Belgian, not Belarus?
I think it's Belgian.
All right, well, they're Belgians or Belarusians, but regardless, if you asked me to point to where you live on a map, I could not. Tell me where Belgium is. Point at it.
I'm not going to do that.
Point at it.
I can't.
All right.
I can't.
Don't laugh at me like you're better.
I just like how you're
Fucking
saying
knowing
it.
where Belgium is.
I think it's near. I mean, it's in Europe.
I think it's northeast of France,
Yeah.
to be honest, because I think they crossed Belgium to get into France during World War II or something like that.
I agree. Also, a lot of people in Virginia. So, here in the good old US of A.
Yeah.
So, hi, people in Virginia. We don't know how you live over there. We're sheltered. We live on the West
We don't
Coast.
know, like, how they survive? What do you mean how they live over there?
Just how you are.
Yeah, what is Virginia like?
Yeah, what's it like?
I don't care to come find out, but let us know.
I was going to say we haven't been there, but we went to Washington, D.C.
We have been in Virginia. We've also been in Maryland.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that's just wild.
That's wild.
Anyway, if you have comments about more of our unhinged ranting, if you are from Belgium or Belarus or wherever
Or
it is.
Virginia.
Or Virginia, because, that's the comparison point. You can send us an email at hypotheticalsiblings@gmail.com. That's hypothetical, hypothetical, siblings@gmail.com.
Thanks so much, y'all. Have a good week.
Have a good week, everybody.